Welcome to Carcassonne Online. Get comfortable. Today we dive into the deep mysteries of our past. We're looking at a structure that has, well, silently watched centuries of bloodshed and truce.
Yeah, a true 14th century stone survivor spanning the dark, rushing waters of the Aude River.
Exactly. Our mission today is to explore the Pont Vieux, or the Old Bridge of Carcassonne, because we're going to uncover how this crossing is, far more than just a path over water for you to walk on.
Oh, absolutely. It has a pretty wild history.
But to set the stage, I'm going to interrupt with a quick news bulletin. Breaking from 1320, the new 225-meter stone bridge is officially open. 12 arches, unequal sizes.
I mean, when you announce it like that, it sounds like an architectural disaster.
Yeah.
A 225-meter bridge with 12 arches, randomly ranging from 33 to 46 feet wide, isn't exactly the hallmark of precision engineering.
No, not at all.
But to understand this, you really have to look at the grueling reality of 14th century construction. It began as a simple wooden span that was mentioned way back in 1184. But the massive stone upgrade that started in 1315, that was a complete logistical nightmare.
Right, because it was basically like a medieval crowdfunding campaign, but with much higher stakes.
Yeah, definitely.
The construction was funded by a special tax. So builders couldn't just, source all their limestone and timber at once.
They'd just run out of money.
Exactly. They had to build an arch, exhaust the funds, and literally halt construction. You'd have this incomplete masonry sitting over the water while the builders just wait for the next wave of money to clear.
And when the money finally arrived, they had to design the next section to fit whatever funds and materials were available that specific season.
Which is just wild to think about.
It is, and that perfectly explains why the arches are completely asymmetrical. The architecture itself serves as this physical ledger.
A ledger in stone.
Right. You aren't just looking at a bridge, you are looking at a permanent record of the unpredictable 14th century economy.
The financial stops and starts are just baked right into the masonry.
Yes, exactly.
And since the funding was so fractured, it is strangely fitting that the bridge itself connected a deeply fractured city.
Oh, for sure. It wasn't connecting a unified populace at all.
Right. It linked two deeply bitter rival factions. You have the lower town, the Bastide Saint-Louis, and the heavily fortified Upper Cité.
And the tension between those two sides was so severe that they essentially weaponized the bridge.
Wait, really? How do you weaponize a bridge?
Well, there was an actual stone arch built right in the middle of the span, and it acted as a hard boundary line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, whenever the two factions would violently clash and then subsequently need to call a truce, they would march out and sign their peace treaties directly on that middle marker over the water.
See, I have to point out a striking irony there. We always use, building a bridge as this universal metaphor for unity.
Oh, right.
But this specific bridge functioned as a heavily fortified border wall right over the water.
It really did. But, placing a heavily monitored gate in the dead center of the primary crossing meant you could control the flow of trade, troops, and citizens.
So it didn't connect the factions, it regulated their separation.
Exactly. Which makes its later structural failures completely understandable.
Oh, I bet. When you have a bridge built piecemeal through stop-and-go funding, and then you treat it as a heavily trafficked military choke point, it's going to take a beating.
A massive beating. In fact, by 1436, two of those mismatched arches completely collapsed into the river and had to be rebuilt.
Ouch.
Yeah, and the patchwork nature continued for centuries. By the time we get to 1820, there were major aesthetic alterations. The city tried to visually unify this battered structure.
Trying to make it look a bit more cohesive after hundreds of years of military damage and rush repairs, I imagine.
Precisely. But despite all that, it survived.
And over the centuries, that harsh, contested border slowly transformed into the city's ultimate peaceful observation deck. It's completely pedestrian now.
And because of where it is, it offers these absolutely breathtaking views. You have an unobstructed line of sight to the Gallo-Roman ramparts, the Black Mountain to the north, and the Pyrenees to the south.
Especially at night, right?
Oh, it's stunning. When the mist rolls in off the Aude at night and the medieval fortress is illuminated, that exact same military vantage point transforms. The fortress looks almost unreal, just floating in the fog.
A profound shift.
Truly. A site originally designed for defense and political rivalry has outlived its conflicts to become Carcassonne's most romantic vantage point.
So we've traced the Pont Vieux from a makeshift wooden crossing to a divided stone frontier, and finally to an enduring monument.
It's a great example of how architecture outlasts the original intent.
It really is. So as you imagine walking across this ancient, mismatched stone path in the fog today, ask yourself a question. What invisible historical borders might you be crossing in your own city without even realizing it?